Hello and welcome to Cooking the Books with Heather. On this episode, we're going to be making Scotch eggs from Teresa Carle-Sanders' Outlander Kitchen cookbook. I've never made these, but I've eaten them before and I really like them, so why not? We're gonna start by basically hard boiling some eggs. My water in here is cold. I'm going to add the eggs here. She says a large saucepan, and for these eggs, which is way more space than I need, but it might be the method here is not the method I usually use, but it does rely on the water remaining hot after you take it off the heat. So let me make sure that we have, I need a little bit more, I need about 1 inch of water over the top of the eggs. So I'm gonna put a little bit more water in here. So they have a ton of room in here. There's a ton of what seems like extra water, but I'm sure it'll be fine. The method here, I'm not gonna really show you the method, but I'm gonna tell you what I'm gonna do because it's kind of boring. We're gonna bring this to a full rolling boil over high heat. Then we're going to remove it from the heat, put the lid on, and set a timer for 7 minutes. So we'll see you when those 7 minutes are over. Oh yeah, I have 1 egg over here for something else we'll talk about later. We're not boiling that one. So a little over 7 minutes because we have to bring it to a boil. While my eggs are sitting in the hot water cooking, I'm going to go ahead and deal with my sausage. So if you didn't know, a Scotch egg is a hard-boiled egg covered with a layer of sausage and then either baked or fried. Usually fried. I think we've decided to bake ours today just to keep from frying because you know that's the thing I dislike the most about cooking. I just don't love to fry things in my house. So we're just gonna bake them and see how they turn out. You can use whatever sausage you prefer. I am going for sort of a breakfast vibe. So I've got some just regular store-bought breakfast sausage, and I'm going to measure out the amount that she says for each, that you need for each egg to cover each egg. And since I have a scale here, I'm gonna be a little bit picky about it. If I didn't, I would just take the amount that she says and divide it up roughly into the number of eggs that I'm doing, so. All right, so now we have our balls of sausage, and I'm gonna wash my hands, put this away, and be back when my eggs are done in about 4 minutes. So my eggs sat there for about 7 minutes in the really hot water, and before I put them in ice water to cool them down, I am going to shake this around a bit to crack the shells a little, just to make it easier to peel them, hopefully. There you go, have little cracks in it. I'm gonna just put some ice in here, and then I'm gonna cover it in cold water. So we're gonna wait for these to be cool to the touch. So while we let these cool, I'm gonna prepare the breading ingredients. So we have a standard breading station sort of thing here. We have some flour with some kosher salt and a little bit of cayenne pepper, and I'm just gonna mix this stuff all together with my fork. There we go. We have 1 other egg for an egg wash with just a little bit of water. And then in this one, we have some panko breadcrumbs. Just these are plain, unseasoned ones, because the seasoned ones are usually like Italian seasoned, and I think that wouldn't go very well with the rest of the vibe I'm working on here. I didn't put quite as many as the recipe calls for in here because my bowl would have been really full, but because this is unseasoned, you don't add anything to it, I can add more of these if I turn out to need them no problem. So this is all ready. And now I need to peel my eggs. These are perfectly cool to the touch, and the cracks will give you a great place to sort of start peeling them. And hopefully they won't be too messy, but if they are, this is a very forgiving recipe because we're going to cover those up. Okay, eggs are all peeled. I've got a baking sheet lined with parchment paper just so they don't stick too badly. And it is time to wrap them in sausage and then coat them in their breading. So I'm going to start with basically making this into a patty in our hands, and then taking an egg and okay, that's sausage. Trying to wrap this all around without leaving. I'm going to try not to leave too many spaces, air bubbles, because I think that might be bad, but whatever. So I've got that. I'm gonna go ahead and do this part for all of them, I think, before I do the rest, just because I think that I'm gonna get it all over my hands. Well, I've already got all of this all over my hands, but whatever. This is just how I decided I'm gonna do it. Okay, so all of them are wrapped and my hands are gross, and I'm just gonna keep working with this as it is. So first, cover it in flour. Get it not too much, but nicely coated. And then egg. So the flour helps the egg to stick to the meat, and then the egg helps the breadcrumbs to stick. It's much more helpful if you keep one wet hand and one dry hand. So I'm gonna be trying to do all of this with just one hand. Get it nicely coated. The panko will help us, since we've decided to bake these instead of frying them, they should still turn out pretty crispy. Because panko itself is really crunchy. So I'm gonna keep doing that with the rest of these. Okay, my hands are really gross. I'm gonna clean this up a little bit, and then I'm probably gonna use my clean hands to sort of round them out a little bit just to make sure they look pretty. But other than that, we're ready. We're gonna put them in a 400-degree oven that I've had preheated until it's light golden and crispy. She says 25 to 30 minutes. We'll see how long it takes us. If you're gonna fry them, she says 3 inches of oil, turning them at 350 degrees, sort of the usual frying temperature, and turn them occasionally about 3 minutes. I would say maybe 3 minutes per side as you turn them. But yeah, that'll be it for this. Like I said, I'll show you what they look like when they come out of the oven, and we'll let you know what we think of them in just a minute. On this episode of Cooking the Books with Heather, you watched me make Scotch eggs from Teresa Carle-Sanders' Outlander Kitchen Cookbook. To clarify, this is her first Outlander Kitchen Cookbook. There is an Outlander Kitchen 2 cookbook, which I don't yet have, just to clarify. So these were not very difficult, in my opinion. Boiling eggs, using prepared sausage, and then just some panko on the outside. Not really not hard. We baked them, so that made them even easier than frying, because you guys know I hate to fry. But I do think frying might make a slightly better end product. It would be a little crispier on the outside, a little browner, and you probably could avoid overcooking your egg, because I'm pretty sure that the hard-boiled eggs were not super hard when we first finished them, but baking them in the oven until the outside looked brown and everything was good, I think they got a little bit more done than they were originally, but that's okay with me. I don't hate an overdone yolk. I would prefer that to be done than for the white to be at all runny. So if that makes a difference to you, I think you could probably manage that better frying than in the oven. My husband absolutely loved it. We used a breakfast sausage, and he finished up the batch having them for breakfast, just before work, because all he had to do was heat it up. So that was good. I didn't particularly love the sausage that we used. It wasn't my favorite. I'm a little picky about breakfast sausage, and all that I could find at that time was one that's not really my favorite. But that's something that you can control, right? You can pick whichever sausage you like. Fresh sausage, not a smoked. You don't want that. And if you pick something you like, you're going to like it more than if you pick something you don't like, obviously. So, yeah, I will eventually, hopefully, get around to making the sausage that she has in this book, and we'll see how much I like that one. So, anyway, if you like Scotch eggs, if you want to make something kind of impressive, this is an easy way to go. And if you enjoyed watching me make this, give me a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, and come back and watch me make something else next week.